Walker with New England Endurance Events, and this is the Gut Check Athletes Meeting 2023. Thank you all for being here. All right, so I'm going to get started with a sharing of the screen. So if you be prepared, I always get jostled when all of a sudden my screen gets taken over. So, and that is not, let's see. Sorry, I'm going to keep talking to you for just a quick sec as I deal with technical difficulties. Let's see if that works now. All right. Perfect. There we go. Now back to where we were. We have the Gut Check Adventure Triathlon. If you all weren't sure what race that you were getting ready to do on Saturday. Some of you have done the gut check before. And so this is kind of all the things for this year that you need to be aware of. And then for those that have not raced with us, you're going to want to know this stuff anyway. So let's get started. So packet pickup is you can come Friday. We'll be setting up from 4:30 to 6 p.m. It's area 6. So if you're familiar with Nickerson State Park, you go in the main entrance and you just keep going for, I guess it's a few miles. You'll see area 6 on the left. That gate will be open and we will be all the way into area 6. So feel free to come all the way in and you can pick up your packet and your swag bag there. And at that point, we will tell you where you can bring your bike if you want to bring the bike and your paddleboard if you're using a paddleboard. The night before, we will have security in both area 6 and the place, which I can't tell you where it is, where your bike and your paddleboard will be, where you'll be starting. So if you want to bring those the night before, that's no problem at all. You can do that, and we do have overnight security in both locations. So race morning, if you can you're going to go to the main parking lot. So we're back in Nickerson. I'm going to show you in just a second. There's a slide or so. You'll see that a little more clearly. There's a parking lot to the right when you first pull in. We are in that parking lot all the way to the end. You'll see there's a little building where the bathrooms are, and we're there. We'll have our New England Endurance Event tent, so that'll be obvious that's where you go. So go there, you'll pick up all of your race materials and swag and shirt and all that fun stuff. If we have any volunteers that are on tonight, you'll do the same thing. Go right to that tent, and Maureen will get you checked in and get you all you need, so that way you can so you're ready to go. We will provide a race belt because you'll need to take that off to be able to get that hole punched. We'll also give you a whistle just in case you get lost. We'll give you a compass, so hoping you won't get lost. And we will give you the laminated trail, which you will not get until moments before the race starts. We do have paddleboard. So if anyone has not purchased a paddleboard, rented a paddleboard, that is thanks to Safari Adventures. They have been donating their paddleboards that we can rent for the last few years, and it is a huge help. It allows us to give more money to the Dream Day camp. So much appreciated, Ryan. Swim bag, we'll talk about that in just a little bit. You can place your swim bag if you have one, because you're going to need something to put your shoes in when you're swimming. Any of that sort of thing, any of your swim stuff that you need, you can put with your where others are putting their paddle boards. Sorry, I have to be careful about what I can say to you and what I can't say to you. So sometimes there's a little hesitation there as I don't give away any secrets. We will have course hydration and nutrition at almost all the checkpoints. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the hydration that we have beyond water. I'll show that to you in just a minute so you have an idea of what else will be on the course. And timing is we do that in-house. And so you will present yourself for each of the checkpoints, but you will be timed when you first start and then when you finish, and then you'll have all your checkpoints. And the bibs I was telling you about was a hole punch. I'll show you that in a little bit. And all team members need to be present as they get to each checkpoint, and then of course crossing the finish line. And we will be having an award ceremony this year. There are a few people that still don't have their USAT memberships, and so here's your chance. If you are a paddleboarder, you still need a USAT membership, which is different this year than it's been in the past. USA Triathlon in the past had not allowed sanctioning of anything except for a standard kind of swim, bike, run. They wouldn't do any kind of paddle boards or weird, other things. They are now allowing that, and that gives you event insurance. So if you have, let's say you twist your ankle when you're out on the, on the trails, and you end up going to the doctor and your insurance doesn't cover all of that. That USAT insurance that you have with membership, that is a supplemental injury insurance. So that would cover you. So that's the benefit for you. For us, it means sanctioning our entire race, which has other benefits for race directors, mostly just being covered by insurance. So if you have not done so yet, please take your phone, scan this QR code, and you can go ahead and get your USAT membership. And just, if you do it before noon tomorrow, I'll see it in the system before I print everything out. If you do it after then, you'll need to bring that receipt with you. You can just show us via email when you come to check in, but everyone's going to have one. All right. Schedule. Friday we talked about, that's packet pickup. If you want to do that, 4:30 to 6, you can drop off equipment. You can actually drop off equipment. I think the other one said 7:45. You can start at 7:30. We will be down at the lower lot. By 8:30, just to give you a bit of an idea about timing. So this year you'll have one place to drop off your bike and your swim gear or paddle gear, or to choose the rental that you have, that you've already secured. So all of that is done in one place. You'll go from the lower lot, you'll get a little map, and it will say, this is where you're going to drop off that stuff. You'll do that. And then you'll have to go up to the to the start line. That will take you a good 15-20 minutes. So plan ahead. I'm going to be giving out maps at 8:45. If you're not there at 8:45, you're going to have less time to look at your map before the start at 9 o'clock. So if you can kind of just think that through timing wise, sometimes there's a little bit of a line down at registration. So you need to plan for that as well. Restart, we said 9 o'clock. And we will, of course, do post-race nutrition and award ceremony. We're planning that 11:30. It depends on how many people are getting through the course, if we have enough to actually do an award ceremony. So we appreciate your patience with that. If you have friends that wanted to register and they haven't done so yet, and they don't do so by tomorrow at noon, online registration closes at that time, so we can get bibs together. So we will then have race day registration or Friday registration, but it's $10 more, and they need to bring cash or Venmo. So you guys are the lucky ones. You've already got all that squared away. Any friends, if you want to pass all that information, would be great. This year, we have a rain date. So a rain date doesn't mean a sprinkle. It means like a storm. So if we end up with, thunder and lightning, then we will notify you all via email. We'll put it on Facebook. We'll put it on our website, all of that to tell you, okay, the race is going to be Sunday. We don't expect that, but just in case you do have a rain date. All right. A lot of people have asked about, well, what do I bring and all of that. So we've got this little list. I think you found something on the website kind of giving you some ideas. Of course, if you got to have a road bike, and you have to have a helmet. If you have a paddle board, if you're paddling, and a paddle, if you're renting one, that will be available to you. You'll come in, Dawn will put your name on both, and then you'll place that on the beach wherever it is that you want to for the race. If you are paddleboarding, you have to have a life vest or a safe swimmer buoy that you can that you attach to you, some kind of flotation device. If you're swimming, I would suggest a safe swimmer buoy, because so you can put your shoes in it, unless some of you are swim runners, in which case you've got shoes that can go in the water. That's up to you. It's a lot of trails. So trail shoes are great. If you have just running shoes and that's what you've been doing, wonderful. We'll supply the maps, of course. And then other things that we found have been helpful over the years. Most people will bring a marker. So The map is laminated, so it does have a coating to it. So pens don't always work well with it, but a Sharpie does, like a sharp point Sharpie, because the map's not huge, it's just an 8.5 by 11. Excuse me. Others have found that long pants, something that's covering their legs as they're running through stuff, works well. That's up to you. Extra top layer in case it's colder than it has been here. Bug spray because you're in the state park, and so forth. Anything that you have, you will be able to either leave on the beach because you're going to use it for your swim. You can leave it up at the end of area 6. I will tell you, you'll be finishing there. So if you want to leave some things there, so that way you've got something to throw on, you're going to be parking in area 6. So, so you can have stuff in your car as well, for after the race. This is on our website, but just to make sure that everyone's aware how much you'll be paddling, swimming, biking, running. And most of the running is on technical trails. There are rocks and roots, but it's beautiful and it's fun. Just watch your footing. Pack a pickup one more time. I'm not going to say it all again to you guys because I've already been telling you, you see it right in front of you. So we hope to see you Friday. Would make your life easier Saturday morning. I was talking about Nickerson State Park. So this is, if you're not aware already, this is 6A in Brewster. There is the entrance to Nickerson State Park, and the parking lot is like right there. So it's like right opposite the guard shack, and you'll just go all the way down into that parking lot and you'll find us. And then Friday, if you're going to be coming Friday to drop off your stuff, pick up your packet, if you follow that Deer Park Road, which is the main road in Nickerson, and you just keep going, you'll end up over here at area 6. The road does continue on to area 7, which is closed, but you'll see area 6 there. We'll have a sign that will say triathlon, so you'll know where to go in, and then just go all the way kind of around the lollipop there and you'll find us. In the morning, though, remember, you're going right down here at the lower lot. All right. Example of the maps that you'll get. So you can see this was last year's map. All you get is a checkpoint. In this case, we actually marked the stairs. So those are stairs. There's 92 stairs, Andy, 97 stairs. Something like that. There's an awful lot of steps that go down that little cliff that goes down to Cliff Pond. At some point during the race, you will be going either up or down those. So just to warn you. And then the finish line is going to, could be anywhere, actually. In 2022, it was right here. So you see the little stars. So you have an idea of where you're going, and you can see the trails that will lead you there. White marks are roads. Only a bike can go on those. And that includes, these are all camping areas. You may not run on camping areas. You can always go across a road in that case, but you cannot run along the road. You have to be able to find a trail, and that way we keep everybody safe and keep you out of, there's still some campers in Nickerson, and we need to be able to avoid campsites under no circumstances should you run through a campsite. So with last year, you see, we were kind of spread out throughout the park. There's some different points that we're swimming. You get a little key on the bottom, and that will tell you from 1 to 2, you're going to do this. From 2 to 3, you're going to do that, and so forth. So if there's any instructions like that, it's going to be right on your map. And then you also have notes reminding you, avoiding campsites, don't run on roads, teams stay together, and that sort of thing. And this, of course, you can take home. It's one of course, for solo athletes, and then one per team. We do have some extras, so if anyone else on a team wants one, just let me know. Hydration and nutrition and bathrooms last year were not marked on the map, and this year they are. So you'll have like a little, these are like red stars. It would just be like a little asterisk, and there'll be a note saying, okay, here's where a porta potty, there's a porta potty here, nutrition or hydration. So hopefully that will help you out. Hydration. So mentioning hydration, this year, New England Endurance Events had Sierra Sport as our nutrition sponsor. And the reason why we asked them to be to partner with us to be part of our race season was because, you know, when Andy and I were at our race director conference for USA Triathlon, Sierra Sport was there, and we found it to be just great hydration. It's rice based. So you know, there's no sugar. I think there's stevia in it. It's good on your belly. So it's not going to be a problem. You know, you're running after sometimes you run when you have Gatorade. It's not a good thing. So Sierra Sport is really easy on the belly. And so if this is something that, you know, that you like, Sierra Sport does have a 50% off discount code just for us. So that's Sierra, me, just right there. But this is what will be on the course. So they have a number of different flavors. So we'll have a few flavors out there for you. And then of course we'll have water, and then we'll have things like Cliff Bars and different nutrition that can help you out. Something else new this year are checkpoint flags. So so for those that have raced with us before, or for anybody, we do a survey after each race. You know, would you get an email and say, thanks so much for participating. If you wouldn't mind filling out the survey. It's really short, but it gives you a chance to say, you know, it would have been great if this happened, or boy, I loved whatever. We take all that stuff to heart. And that's why we're marking on the map what checkpoints have nutrition, hydration, and where the bathrooms are. So the other one was people making sure that they knew where they were going, where one of our staff or volunteers were punching your bibs. So you have your race bib, you wear it, you know, you have a race belt with your bib. You can either take it off and hand it to one of the volunteers or staff, and they'll use their hole punch. That way we know after the race that yes, you went to checkpoint 1, 2, 3, and so forth. But sometimes it's hard to find that person because you got there and there's like 20 other people there in that same checkpoint, particularly like checkpoint 1. So you'll know that if you find a flag, it will either be one of our regular race flags, which is like bike in, bike out, swim, things like that, or it might be just a red flag or a yellow flag. If you see a flag that's shaped like this, that's where the person that needs to hole punch your bib is located. So that should help you. You'll be able to kind of go right to it rather than trying to hunt somebody down. So I hope that helps. This year, the water crossings are sandwiched between other activities. So you will need to bring your shoes with you on the swim or the paddle. Some people do that, as I mentioned before. They do other swim runs and they have like special shoes that mostly float. Certainly don't need to buy anything new. The other thing that you can do is a safe swimmer buoy. So here's one right here. We have yellow ones. I can show you that in a minute. Somebody asked about, well, how, you know, like how big is it? So you'll see the next slide. I put Andy's shoes in the bag. He's a size 11 and they fit. So if you're a size 11 or smaller, you're in good shape. We will give you one when you check in, when you pick up your packet. If you need one, we'll give you one. If you already have one, that's no problem. Some people use dry bags and they just attach it around their shoulder and they swim with that. Or on the paddle, that's easy enough. They can carry it that way, but you will need to have your shoes and your map and all of that stuff between swim segments. There we go. So so these shoes, big tall Nikes, fit into the Safe Swimmer buoy. And here's that picture. It's kind of hard to tell. So this is our Safe Swimmer buoy. You can see how big it is. So you put the shoes in first and then you blow it up. Otherwise it will be hard to get them in. But otherwise, when you blow it up, the air kind of goes around it and keeps the shoes secure, and you have plenty of room. So you can see how big those shoes are compared to the swim buoy I was showing you. And I actually have a size here if that helps you, if you want to kind of figure that out. But we'll have those available to you. But if you want to use something else, that's fine. All right, so something else to be aware of. We have swimmers and we have paddlers all out on the same body of water. So we want to keep you guys as separate as we can to keep everybody safe. So the swimmers will be going on one course, one aim, and you'll be looking for orange buoys. And then if you're paddling, you're going to look for yellow triangular buoys. And so you're going to follow along either buoys depending on what you're doing, if you're paddling or you're swimming. And the paddles I had mentioned before, Safari Adventures, in case you weren't sure what I was talking about. This is Safari. They are fantastic paddleboard rental company. They do tours, and they are just the nicest bunch of people. So if you don't live on Cape and you come back at another point, then please check them out. If you live on Cape and you have visitors that are coming and you want to do something fun, then I would highly recommend them. All right, there's a USAT membership again. So if you missed it the first time and you still don't have your USAT membership, and there's a few of you out there, please scan that now. Good for you, Andy. I see that phone out. All right, so I'm going to take us off of, make sure. Oh, I can't hear you because you're muted. All right, let me go off of that share. So let's see. So one thing I didn't mention, and I don't see, Andy, do you have chat? Andy, do you have chat on yours?
I do. So you should mention that the chat window is at the bottom. So that people.
Oh, right. Yeah, I should have done that to start with. So if anyone has any questions, I mean, there's not a ton of you on. I mean, there's, I don't know, under 70. So if you want to raise your hand, you can ask a question, or you can throw it in chat. So go ahead, Andy.
Yeah. Hi, Kathleen. I wanted to ask about the swimmers. Do we have to bring a cap, or is it no caps, or how does that work?
So we'll supply a swim cap. So, okay. So we'll have a swim cap for you. If you're allergic to latex, bring your own swim cap. But otherwise, we have them. It's got our nice logo on it. We hope that you wear it elsewhere throughout the year.
On both swims, or multiple. If there's multiple swims.
Right. That's a good point. So, you probably couldn't hear my Andy over here. There's 2 or more swims, and you'll have to wear your swim cap for each. So when you do the first swim segment, make sure that you hang on to your swim cap. Don't just throw it down, because you're going to need it again. Okay, so let's see. So there's a couple of other questions in chat.
All right. So someone's saying, if a cyclist is wearing cleats, do they have to carry their sneakers?
So that's a good question.
Yeah. You want me to know?
No, we have to think about the course and whether they can plant their sneakers. So
off to the side when they see the map.
Right, but that's so, all right. So everything, of course, that Andy and I, of course, we know exactly what the map looks like, but we can't tell you. So we have to be careful about what information we give you. So you can do 2 things. You can bring 2 pairs of running shoes, one that you have on from the beginning, and one that you leave at your at your bike. We'll have bike racks, and you can leave like all of your bike gear there. If you want to leave an extra pair of shoes there, so that way, oh, never mind, that's not
That
gonna work.
doesn't work.
No, it won't work. Take that back.
I think
Of course,
I think what it is
coming over.
someone should be prepared to possibly have to carry their shoes. I mean, one easy option is to use a dry bag or our swim buoy, so that you always have your run shoes with you no matter what comes after what.
Right, and you
that's a
could
good
put
way of
that,
going
yeah, you
through
could
it.
put that around you. The other, I think some people have just had a backpack. For, they have like just a small one that they can throw on the bike, and that way they can put their shoes in there.
The paddle boarders tend to just have a backpack.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's one way. So without giving too many things away, you're right, this time around you can't have to worry about that. So all right, so does that answer your question there for the for your bike shoes?
Another option is to
No.
It doesn't.
put flat pedals on your bike, because the bike
Oh, no, yeah.
the bike stretches are not terribly long.
No, right, but there is some hills because it's Nickerson.
Yep.
So that's a little harder with the flat pedals. So probably your best bet is to have some kind of like small backpack, or the swim buoys to Andy's point, and you can kind of strap it. Let me see what I did with mine. Just lost it. Will you pass that to me? you can, you've got a good strap here, so you could, you could kind of put that around you. And, and kind of figure that out, but most people just use they'll have a backpack. Actually, is there anybody on that has, raced with us before? I don't know if Ryan Birch is on, because he's, if so, just speak up, and that will, or throw it in chat and say, yeah, I have, what have I done?
Yeah, could say how they did it. Next question is, do you have to navigate the checkpoints in order? And
That's a
yes,
good question.
the checkpoints will be numbered.
Right, yeah, and you have to follow them in order. So that will be important for you when you see the map. I had shown you the map before, is to really map that out beforehand. And that's why people bring like a marker, so they can actually be like, all right, here's one, and from one, I'm going to take this route to get to two, which goes into one of the questions there was, can you run on the paved bike paths? No, you can only, oh no, you can, excuse me. You can run on a paved bike path, but you cannot ride your bike you can only ride your bike on the road.
Right.
Which
And
will be apparent when you get the map. So that
And you
won't
can-
be a big
you
guess.
can run across a paved surface,
Right,
but you cannot run on a paved surface
Correct.
if it's a road.
correct.
Okay, good.
Okay, so then we missed a question Bob had about spectators. So I can't give it away, Bob, because if I tell you where the spectators should be, then you guys are gonna have an idea of where you're going.
Shouldn't they come to area 6?
Yes.
And then once they find out what the map is, they could
Right.
say, let's go walk to this place. to
Right,
watch."
so once you guys all go off, I'm gonna take this off. When once you all go off 9 o'clock and you go run wherever it is you're gonna run, or bike or swim, right? I will, I'll be there. So whatever spectators are there, I usually give them like an extra map and then say, here's your best spots to be able to see your racer. So, but by then, like, the cat's out of the bag, you guys have the map, but I can't tell you anything. So there are some places that spectators can be and see at least portions of the course. They won't be able to see everything because you're in the woods a bit.
Okay.
All right.
Next question is, do we have to carry our swim buoy after the swim, or can we leave it on the beach? Well, first of all, there won't be just one swim.
Right.
And then second of all, generally speaking, I think we follow the protocol that most adventure races and swim run races follow, which is you finish with what you started with. Am I right?
No, for this one, we have.
Oh,
other
really?
bits
We
of
have
places, yeah.
exceptions?
It will be, but I can't tell you because then I'm giving something away. So when you have the map, then it would be more apparent of, oh, I need to take my swim buoy with me, or, oh, I can leave it here because I'm coming back here. You'll know that when you have the map. And I give it to you 15 minutes beforehand, which ends up being a pretty good amount of time. And you can ask me any question that you want. So when you have the map, it will be a little bit more apparent.
Okay, so
go
it
ahead.
is theoretically possible that someone could leave it on the beach
Yes.
if it's to their advantage.
Right. And that's perfectly fine, as long as,
Same thing with shoes or anything
right,
else.
any of that stuff, as long as you collect all of that by the end of the race, then that's fine. Yes, Dan, you can set up your bike the night before. You can leave a small bag there. You can leave whatever that you want by your bike. We will have people there. I'm wondering though, with the bike, your best bet, yeah, you can leave stuff right there. So
At the bike.
Yeah.
Oh, so when you rack your bike, whether it's before the race or during the race, you can leave your bike shoes if you have dedicated bike shoes with that bike, as well as other items that you may say, I don't need this till later.
Right.
That's right, right? Okay.
That's right. Race morning, if there's something like 1 year, I was able to give a little bit of a hint because it was like already race morning, and said, okay, you can leave, you'll want to leave your stuff here because you're going to come back to that spot. So if there's anything like that, then we'll let you know race morning. Clearly marked, or will they need to refer to the map? Okay, Grace, good question. So no trail is clearly marked. That's the whole idea. When if you were on a little bit earlier, I showed you the map. That was a map that we used in 2022. That's all you get. So it's up to you to be able to say, there's checkpoint 4, and I'm going to have to follow this trail and then that trail to be able to get over there. And then from there, I'm going to have to do this. But that's completely up to you. There will be one hint on the entire course. There's one spot where it is confusing when you look at the map and then you're there, you're not completely sure which trail it is. Like, even like we had trouble. One time we could figure it out, the next time we couldn't. So if we can't do it and we're in there all the time, then we want to make sure that you have a little hint. So there is one sign that Dawn's going to put up that will say checkpoint whatever this way. But that's it. And that's actually giving away more. We normally don't do that at all. So so this year you guys have a
Right.
little benefit.
But it's not a confusing park. It's a pretty good sized state park, but if you look at the map and you look ahead of yourself, you'll say,
You can
"Oh,
usually figure it out.
this is
Yeah.
going, let's just say, between those two ponds." Well, there's the only place that's between the two ponds, and away we go. So you should be fine. Remember, you'll have a compass.
Right. You'll have
So-
just a little compass. If you've got a good one at home and you want to bring it, no problem. But we're going to give you a little compass. And then
So, and the map is oriented to north, south,
right.
east,
And it
west.
has a
So-
compass on it so
yeah.
that way you know that yes, that it is north, pointing north.
Right, so you can head in at
Yeah.
least the approximate correct direction. And also there'll be lots of other people out there. So unless you're one of our faster racers or fastest racer,
Yeah. Follow somebody else
yeah,
and
there's a
hope
lot
and
of-
hope for the best.
There's a lot of that goes on.
So Pat, are there trails
Oh,
not on the map?
Let's go back up though.
Oh, sorry.
Before you get
Sorry,
too
Ben.
far down there.
Um,
There's a question about setting up the bike the night
Okay.
before, which we don't do. We will set up the bike racks the day before. But people do not leave their bikes.
you don't want to leave. Oh, I just
Oh,
told them they
you
could.
just told them they could,
Yeah. Because usually we do.
because it'll be in area 6.
No.
What about security?
Well, that's what we have.
We have
Those two.
security out there, but I'm just worried about
Yeah.
that level. of
Okay,
security.
so it sounds like Andy and I are going to discuss that off the record, and then we're going to let you guys know. So we just have to think about where that is and where our security is able to be in order to.
I think
to
you can
make that
bring your
work.
paddle boards the night before, but we've
That's
never,
definitely, yeah, you
we've
definitely.
never
bring
had
paddles.
bikes
Yes,
the
we
night-
have.
we have had
Yeah.
bikes the night before. All right.
So, okay, so is running, where are you at on this list here? Do we have swim buoys? God, you're the one that was following on the list. Otherwise I'll go back to Pat's question.
Okay, you go back to Pat's question.
Okay, so Pat, you asked, are there trails that are not on the map? I cannot think of any. God, can you think of anything? There's some that are Jeep trails. Oh, there's one
No.
Jeep trail that's marked as a road, but it's actually a Jeep trail.
Pretty much all the trails are on on the map, at least trails that you would identify as trails. You will see some little paths that coyote and deer may follow, but they're very tight and they usually go into the underbrush.
Right,
So,
there's
yeah.
trails, they're like real trails.
But the trails are on this map,
Okay.
this version anyway.
So I know that must be hard for you guys because we're looking at the map right here, but we can't show it to you. So we're gonna keep it right there. All right, so Andy, did you have, seems like bike shoes will stay with the bike, but you're going to, if you're going to swim and biking with running shoes, so bring a bag. Yeah, thanks, Bob. That's correct.
Okay,
Um,
all right, so someone's camping in the park, wondering if they could just ride their bike to the entrance and pick up their stuff and then head out to area 6.
sure.
You can, and this is really up to your fitness level. I'll tell you that it's about 3 miles, 3 to 3.5 miles from the entrance to the park to area 6. And there are hills in there, not mountain stages in the Tour de France, but there are hills that can be a bit challenging. So some of our athletes who want to be among the top finishers, they may be in a condition where, oh, that's a great warm-up for me. But others, I could say myself at many points in my career would be like, no, I'm going to drive. So.
Right, so either way,
You have to
it's
decide
whatever you
yourself.
want. But if you're camping there the night before, Casey, then do packet pickup Friday night. And that way you don't have to go all the way back down to the entrance. You'll just be able to go to 6. So does that make sense? Yeah, that's much easier. No reason to do that in the morning. That's kind of useless. Okay. So Casey was the last question that we had in chat. Does anyone have any other questions? Wow. If so, this will be a record meeting. We have never finished a meeting in 37 minutes. Wait, I heard
I have
somebody.
I have a question about the rentals.
Yeah.
If we're renting boards, will they be there for us the morning of or the night before, or
Both.
when do we get them and bring them where we're supposed to bring them?
Okay. So Bob, whether you check in on Friday or on Saturday, you'll pick out your board. There's Safari has like a big trailer and it's got like all their boards on it. And so usually they stay on the trailer and then you say, oh, I want that one. And then our staff will take that down for you. You'll grab a paddle, make sure it fits you properly, and then you'll place it on the beach.
You put names on them.
Right. Yeah. And there's names and your bib number is on there. And then you just remember wherever it is you place it. So that way you'll be able to find it during the race.
Sounds good. Does it come with a life jacket, or I thought you said the life jackets were
Yes, for the rentals that
mandatory?
comes, yeah, for
Okay.
rentals will come with a life jacket. If for any of those, any of you who are bringing your own boards, just make sure that you have, that you have one with you, or you use a safe swimmer buoy. Either way, we just need something that floats.
Yeah, I'll make a notation here. Our little company owns a dozen or so life jackets, so I could throw some in the truck.
Yeah, that'd be a good idea. Okay. Great. Anyone have any other questions?
Oh, I had a question.
Sure.
So I just wanted to clarify because I was a little confused. Are you able to set up your bike the evening before during the packet pickup, or are you not allowed to? I
That's
thought at
where-
one point you said you were allowed to,
Yeah.
and then you said maybe you're not. So
Right. So yes. So Andy and I are gonna have to discuss that because I was like, yeah,
Okay.
we have in the past, the bike was in an area that was enclosed. And so you could set up your bike the night before and, someone was camping right beside of it. So that's what I was picturing. Or that's what I was thinking about. And then Andy was thinking about this year's race and we have security that would be it for the
there.
paddle boards. But will they be able to be over by the bike? So that's why Andy said, said, oh, wait, maybe not. So we're going to discuss that and we're going to put it on, we'll put it on Facebook.
Yeah,
And then I'm trying to think of where else we can put it. And then
we have staff who are camping overnight at multiple locations, the checkpoint locations. And we just want to make sure that if you leave a bike, it is fully secure. Because our staff, they need to fall asleep at some point. And of course, they'll hear something if a truck comes along or a car comes along, but and particularly if it stops outside of their tent. But still, let's talk that one through.
okay. All right, Dan. So sorry, that's kind of a non-answer.
I'm personally thinking
No,
bike set up the morning of the race would be a good idea. Paddleboard set up the night before.
yeah,
would
it's
be
fine. So
yeah,
the paddle boards are going to be on the beach and we have someone that is sleeping in a tent on the beach.
right there.
So that's why we're like paddle boards,
Yeah.
no problem at all.
We have two
Um,
people sleeping on that.
that's true.
Each in two tents, so yeah, it would ward
Um,
off anybody. I mean, the park is dead quiet right now. And maybe there's a fisherman who will come by and fish for a few hours in one of the ponds, but at this time of the year, there's very little activity.
Yeah. Beth asked about swim run suits. Yes, they're totally allowed. If that would actually work out really well if you have one. Water temperature.
I was going to get it tomorrow. We can
Let's do
put it on Facebook and social media. I know our event last weekend, those ponds were in the mid-70s. There was before this hot spell last week, the ponds had started getting down to about 70, 71. But then you remember we had a string of really hot days and all of a sudden it jumped up to 74, 75. So low 70s, I think.
We'll
that's
check it for
pretty,
further.
pretty comfortable by anyone's measure. You know.
Okay, yeah, we'll check it. We'll put it on Facebook. And that way you'll know, and of course we'll tell you when you come to pick up your packet. But it has been worn. You're sending an athlete's guide. No.
The problem with having an athlete's guide is we can't give too much away,
Yeah,
other than saying it's a swim, bike, and run, and you'll find out the order and where you go race morning.
right.
Yeah.
So sorry, Heather. I know for our other races we do, Andy spends hours, literally hours doing those athletes guides. But for this one, we can't tell you a lot. Okay, anyone have any other questions? Let's see, you got another one, Dan.
Could just stash some stuff at various checkpoints during the 15 minutes.
No, you won't. So I know in theory that sounds like, oh, you'll have plenty of time, but you won't.
It's a
so-
big park. It's a big
Yeah, it's a big park, and you're going to be spending that time looking at the map to make sure you know where you're going. We've been doing the Gut Check as an adventure race for, you're doing it 4 years now?
Well, COVID kind of got in the way,
Yeah.
but I think it was 2019, 2021, 2022. So this
Okay,
will be
so-
over the fourth.
So this year, fourth. So in all that time, no one who has gotten, no athlete has had any time to do anything except for study the map and figure out where they were going. So in theory, it sounds like that would work, but in reality, you're not going to be able to do that.
And don't give something to a spectator or a friend and ask them to go.
Right,
put it down
right.
for
Spectators cannot help you in
We
any
would
way.
really appreciate if those who watch you race park at area 6. They can watch you at area 6. They can watch you at other spots that are within walking distance. But we don't want 50 cars driving down this little park road at the same time that we have bicycles trying to go, and there's some fishermen coming in to go do their fishing for the day.
Right,
It's-
right. So
it's- it
spectators
just-
will kind of be at the start, and their vehicles will stay there, and they'll be able to move around in a way that they'll be able to see at least part of your race. But speaking of spectators and / volunteers, we could use a couple more volunteers. So if you've got any spectator that doesn't like just standing around and waiting for you to go by, we could put them to work. So just let me know. I'm going to put it in chat, my email. Just send me a note and or have them send me a note, and we'll get them set up.
No heavy lifting.
Yeah, it's mostly pointing, punching holes and things. But it's much appreciated. All right, anyone have any other? Good, Andy.
Just the number that you punch, is this a typical bib number that you'd wear? Must we bring a belt for the bib, or how's that work? Is it waterproof? Can we swim
Yeah.
with it?
So we'll give you like it's like the Tyvek bibs so they can get wet. And a running belt. So you'll want to take off the running belt, of course, when you're swimming, otherwise that doesn't always work well. You have to stuff it in your bag. But we'll provide the running belt, and we'll have the bib, which can get wet. And they can still hole punch it. It's not as easy as paper, but that's what they'll do. They'll hole punch. So that way we know that you've been through all the different checkpoints.
Yep, someone wonders if they can see the meeting again on YouTube or Facebook.
And on the
YouTube-
website, yeah.
Definitely YouTube. Is it on Facebook
Huh?
as well?
So we'll tomorrow, give me a little time to go through it. And then I will upload it to YouTube, where you can find it on the New England Endurance Event channel. I will also post it right now. There's the 2022 athletes meeting on the website. So I'll put this one in there instead. And then we'll put it on, it will be a post on Facebook. There'll be a link there.
If I put a link to the YouTube page in this chat, it will disappear when it's over. So best to you can go to YouTube and just type in New England Endurance.
And it will come up.
All right.
Okay. All right, another question. Elizabeth, if you do not have a swimming suit, what would you wear? So a lot of people wear like a, if they're triathletes already, you know, they'll wear like a tri-suit so that way you can swim and run and bike in it. I've seen people wear swimsuits with shorts that they can just stuff in their bag when they're swimming. You
Some
know,
people just wear swimsuits. And of course, we always have the Speedo guy.
every
or-
once in a while,
or
yeah,
a
yeah.
couple of
probably
Speedo
Every
guys.
race, there's like one Speedo guy. Which, you know, is what it is. But yeah, Elizabeth, if you've got, you know, make sure that you have stuff in your car for after the race because, you know, ultimately you're gonna end up getting cold just, you know, because you've been racing. But you can, if you've got some things and you're going to use one of our swim buoys, you know, which we'll give you, you can put stuff in there. But I would have some.
Yeah, stay away from cotton, stay away from material that's, you know, if it gets wet, it just is going to get heavy and soggy. These days, it depends where you're coming from. If you're coming from off Cape, you can stop at an REI and they have all that kind of stuff that you could use. It, you know, even like that hikers wear that wicks very quickly and sheds easily. But even on the Cape, there's places. I think Nauset Sports and some of the others you can get
Yeah, so I got it right now.
quick wicking things, or just go the swimsuit route with the top that once again is not too heavy.
Right, no problem. So Magdalena, I will switch you to swim. Looks like you'd prefer to do swim. That's no problem at all. Okay, swim. So we'll take care of you. Is there anybody else? Anyone have any other questions? Yeah. So
No need to be tense. This is a casual, fun experience. You'll like the vibe there. I think it's one where everybody's kind of celebrating the end of the season, doing something fun, being able to do something with friends, because this team aspect is really great when you can have 2 friends, 3 friends, even 4 friends all doing the race together. But even as a solo challenge, it's a good one. However, online registration closes at
tomorrow at noon.
So tell any friends that have an interest that.
Right, sign up before
Right.
Wednesday at noon tomorrow, where they're able to do it online. And it's, I think the rate is 110 to register. Might be 120. Anyway, whatever it is online, but it's $10 more on race morning and you have to pay cash because we don't have a card reader. So better for your friends to sign up tonight. Remember that USAT number. I know Andy got it already. Go ahead and get your USAT number. It's much easier to do it before tomorrow at noon than it is to wait until race morning, because either way you're still going to need your phone and you're still going to need a credit card. You're going to have to do like that QR code I showed you before. They'll be there at Packet Pickup and you'll have to do it there. So why not just do it at home instead of doing it there when there's not always reception at Nickerson, and then it just makes it harder and kind of starts your morning off in not the best way.
Among our athletes, we always have weather watchers, those who wait until a few days before the race to sign up. They take a look at the weather forecast, and there are going to be some showers Saturday afternoon, but right now, Saturday morning is clear.
Right. And you know what? And even if it's not knock on wood, right? It's not going to rain. But even if it does, I mean, for those of you that have done gut check before, the rain makes it that much more fun. I don't know why, but last year it rained. And there were so many smiles going through that finish line. And, you know, and I had asked somebody, like, did it bother you that it rained? Like, no, that made it so much more fun. So, so this is just, it's a super fun race. And as Andy was saying, it's a way of kind of celebrating the end of the season. It's really casual. You'll laugh and, you know, and have a good time with other people. Even if you're racing solo, you're still going to see people throughout the course. And, you know, and it's a way to kind of put on your brain while you're racing, which doesn't always happen. So, so it looks like we don't have any more questions. So, so we want to thank you guys for being on tonight. We want to thank you for signing up for the gut check, and we look forward to seeing you either Friday night from 4:30 to 6 or Saturday morning at between 7:30 and Packet Pickup 7:30 to 8:30. So thank you
Yes.
guys so much. Oh, go ahead, Andy. What is it?
A question not about the gut check. The SOS, will that come back? What's the story on the
Oh,
SOS?
SOS Cape Cod.
I think the reception to our swim run Cape Cod was so strong that that's probably going to be the 7th race in our
We're gonna
series
keep
of
it as the
7
7th race,
races,
yeah.
and I don't think we have the energy and stamina to add an 8th race to our schedule. The SOS race, while we loved it, was logistically our most difficult race to put on, and we
Yeah.
with 3 towns plus the National Park Service, and there was just so many things that we love doing it. And I think the reason why the SOS, the original SOS in New York, has gone on for so long is that even though it's a tremendous amount of work for them, it's almost become like a passion for the founder, Don Davis, and his family. So we have passion for triathlon. Obviously, we're not in this to become hedge fund type millionaires, but yeah, that's a little bit too much for us. So I think
Yeah.
we're going to let it go.
Well, I hope you
Okay,
do
thanks.
swim run next year.
Thanks, it was awesome. But in the memory book.
Good,
Good.
good. I'm glad to hear that. All right, you guys. I hope everyone has a great night, and we'll see you this weekend. Bye-bye.
Thank you.